Hello there. So this is going to be my very first ever live stream. I am currently in a hostel in Tokyo, so I'll show you a little bit around me. Somebody talking here, so excuse me if it's a bit loud in here at some points. Yeah, I'm staying at a hostel in Tokyo at the moment, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to do something different, tell you a bit of an update from my last few months, tell you about Korea, Japan. I'm at the moment editing the Korea and Japan videos, so this is kind of a little bit of a sneak into the future. But I'm also going to talk about future plans and things I've been doing in the last month or so. So, yeah, if you've got any comments or anything like that, this is the first time I've done it, so it's the first time I can really see how all of this works. But yeah, welcome to the live stream if you've just come. So I'm going to tell you firstly about Korea and how that went, and give you a little bit of insight into my thoughts on the Four Rivers route, heading down from Seoul all the way down to Busan. And yeah, in short, Korea is lovely, really easy cycling. It's very easy to cycle through Korea. The Four Rivers route is, yeah, I would say it's really simple way to go down and enjoy that country. The bike path is by a beautiful river, wonderful landscapes, but it's just a little bit boring for my tastes. Hello there, everybody that's welcomed to the live stream as well. Let's hi, Brian, Michael, Andrea, that's my mum, and Phil. Hello there, Phil from Swansea. It's good to have some British people in here and somebody from Sweden. Fantastic. But yeah, you guys that are currently watching, it's yeah, we're going to talk about Korea and continue talking about that. So going down the Four Rivers route, it took me, I think it was 2 weeks really to get down there. And that's quite slow going. I was taking a lot of rest. It was quite warm, taking a lot of rest breaks during the day, which is something I quite like to do. I think that's one of the beauties of bike touring, is being able to just chill out and take your time. And yeah, so going down from there, I met up with a French guy, a guy called Arthur, and he's going to be in the next video I edit, a proper video, not a live stream video. So you're going to meet Arthur, who he's got a really interesting story, and I don't really want to ruin it, to be honest, but he had spent he's cycled all the way from France all the way to Korea at this point, so he's a really cool guy to meet. And we spent 2 weeks together cycling, which you don't often do, to be honest. For me, cycle that long with somebody else. So Benny in Lee's 61. How am I? I'm really good in Tokyo at the moment. Just sending this. I hope that the screen is okay and everything, the quality of the sound is okay. If everyone can hear me, I thought I'd use these headphones so you could hear me better. Right, I'm going to continue talking about Korea and Japan. So cycling with somebody else was different for me, another guy, as opposed to cycling alone, especially as I'd been by myself by that point for about a month, from Cambodia, going through Cambodia and into Seoul. Going from Southeast Asia to South Korea, as you can imagine, was a completely different kettle of fish as well, complete change. All the robots in the airport and how everything changed, but I think it was all for the best. Like for me, getting out of Southeast Asia at that point was just to change the journey and do something a little bit different. Yes, so Korea, I was ready to move on to Japan. I did have aspirations of exploring Korea more, but I thought at that point I wanted to get into Japan and experience another new country, and it's a huge country to explore, is Japan. So I've been in Japan now for a month, and this is my last few days in Tokyo. I fly to Alaska tomorrow, so I'll just tell you a little bit about Japan without spoiling it too much. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll already see a lot of my updates that I put on there, and you'll be able to just keep up to date with some of my photos as I continue through Japan. I'm pretty up to date on Instagram, so it's Adam Cycling the World. I'll put a link to it in the chat here. Where am I in Tokyo? It's a really good question. I'm fairly close to the center. I don't know the name of the district, but I'm going to have a look whilst I keep talking. So yeah, getting into Tokyo and cycling through Japan, I pretty much stayed in the south of Japan. I didn't go up to Hokkaido, which is something I do want to do one day. It's something I'm really looking forward to one day coming back to Japan and doing that. I don't know how to show you a map and how to do that. If I could do that, that'd be really useful. Let's see if I can work it out whilst I'm on here. No, I don't think I can. So I'm going to keep it as it is. But basically, I cycled along the south of Japan, and I made my way from Fukuoka, which is right on the west coast. I went from there along the coast for a bit, which is beautiful scenery. My aim was to get to Hiroshima, which is a lot of history there with the atomic bomb landings. I went from there to Shikoku Island, which is the southern islands at the bottom, cycled across there, and then back onto the main island, went to Osaka, Kyoto, around Lake Biwa, which is beautiful, absolute highlight of Tokyo, of Japan so far for me, to then Nagoya, big urban sprawl, and then from there, Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji was a bit of a letdown for me. It was a lot of cloud and wet weather. Didn't really see the mountain, I suppose, which is just how it works sometimes. Um, so I'll go on to that question you asked. Where am I in Tokyo? Let's have a look at the map. The nearest station to me is Asakushabashi. Probably murdered that pronunciation. Somebody's going to Hokkaido. Of course, traveling the world. Yeah, you're going to Hokkaido in July, end of July. That's amazing. I've met a lot of people going up to Hokkaido. They all say amazing things about it. The wildlife, the nature there. So I didn't give up on going there. This is my reasoning at the time to change my flights to not go all the way there was, if I'm in Alaska, I really want to get to the Arctic Circle. And it was, shall I go to Hokkaido or shall I make my way to the Arctic Circle? I decided, I would rather go Alaska Arctic Circle at that moment. And that was the way up, really. And I'll have longer as well, looking to the future. If I make my way south to spend time in the mountains going to the United States for my next part of the plan. Was able to climb Mount Fuji by bike. So there's a number of routes that lead you up to Mount Fuji. They take you on all sides of Mount Fuji, but the highest you can get is on the southern side. I think you get to 2,500 meters. It's the highest you can go. I went to 1,000 meters, which is just the normal road pass. You've still got a lot of climbing to get to 2,500 from there, but you start pretty much at sea level. So it's a good old day of cycling. From there, we can leave your bike. It's Japan, which is super safe, and you could just walk. It's a fairly simple walking path with lots of huts. You zigzag up the mountain. On a clear day, I think you'd be pretty okay. But on a cloudy, rubbish day, you've got to be careful. It's a big old mountain going up to 3,700 meters, so altitude can have an effect, and it can be cold, and people have died up there. So but if it's good weather, you'd be good. Hello there from Hokkaido. I'll Coop 100. Welcome. I wish I'd, in a way, I don't know, wish I'd gone there straight away, but I've really enjoyed what I've seen in Japan. It's been culturally super exciting. I think I preferred Japan to Korea, and I probably think that will come through in the videos as well, which isn't to say the Korean videos are bad. There's just different reasons for it. I think Korea at the time, for me, just seemed a little bit too safe, whereas Japan, it's a little bit more, it's still very safe and lots of rules still, but I could get off into the mountains and you could be quite isolated and alone there in the mountains. Rory, good old Rory, good old mate. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for that. So another highlight I talked about in Japan that's going to come up in one of the videos is Lake Biwa. Lake Biwa is like the biggest lake within Japan. I cycled around that with a friend who I met in Kyoto. She'd already cycled through Korea. She got in touch with me on a Facebook group and she wanted to go and cycle through there. Her name's Anna. She's from the Netherlands. So we were like, yeah, that'd be cool. Let's cycle that together. So we cycled around Lake Biwa, which was a big change for me again, cycling with somebody else for 4 days, which was again really nice just to spend some time in someone else's company. And also Lake Biwa is really beautiful, really nice setting. From there, had decided I'm going to go to Alaska early. So I kind of put myself under a bit of a time pressure to get from Lake Biwa to Nagoya, big old cities, Nagoya, and then cycle to Mount Fuji to Tokyo, which is where I'm sending this from now. Tokyo, for the first 3 days I was here, was super rainy, torrential rain, really miserable, to be honest. So I spent a lot of time just eating food and not going outside. And yeah, from there, Tokyo, what things have I done here? There's a big crossing which is quite popular on Instagram, the Shibuya crossing. Basically, imagine a big intersection, crossroads, goes across here like this, and in the middle, loads of people just walking along there. It's quite a sight to see, actually. The biggest sight is actually seeing all the tourists with their cameras taking exactly the same videos. So I tried to do something a little bit different, get zoomed in, but do a bit of time lapse action. But I imagine it's been done before. Yeah, other things that are new for this channel, for me, a new project I've started on is I have started a podcast, and I've not talked about this at all on the channel, so I thought this live stream would be a good place to do that. I'm doing a podcast. The title is Bike Tour Diary. I'll type that into this chat. So Bike Tour Diary is the name of it, and it's exactly that. It's basically to give me an outlet to leave a journal, because at the moment I don't write a journal. I find myself at night probably too tired to do it, too maybe lazy, but I can have the time to do this. Put the headphones in, I get my phone, and I just talk into the phone and leave voice notes. And I thought, I've been doing this now for a while. I've been doing it since I started cycling alone, and they're quite interesting. Maybe, I don't know. So I thought I can use them, these diary entries, and you can get to feel what it's like for me on the road actually every day. But I'm also looking to do interviews with people as I meet them and as I make connections. So that's going to be some of the special things I do in the podcast, which is Bike Tour Diaries. So let me just write that in here. Podcast Bike Tour Diary. So the podcast is on Spotify already. It's just been approved on iTunes, but it goes fully public in about 24 hours. So yeah, if you're watching this now, I will put a link onto the podcast actually, which hopefully I'll be able to get up. Hopefully you can still see me. Yeah, I'm going to get that link up now to the podcast, and you guys will be able to be some of the first people to watch it. If you're watching this live stream, I imagine seeing that podcast might be quite interesting for you guys. I'm going to read some of the comments here because I've got quite a few comments coming in. Paul Smith, hello from Stanthorpe, UK. Stanhope, sorry. I need to put my glasses on when I'm reading these. Good choice of bicycle. He's got the normal V brake with 26-inch wheels. Great bicycles, hell of a difference from aluminium. I would agree with that. Yeah, the Surly disc trucker. You're going with a long haul trucker, I'm imagining. Then, if you've got the V brake, really good bike. I found it to be, really, really done. It's done the job. I'm looking at the moment though at going through. I'll talk about my kit and equipment now, actually. So I will, talk about my changes on my bike. I can't show you it because I'm about to pack my bike into a bike box for a flight to go. So it's not set up at the moment. But the bike, I've got rid of the front panniers and the front pannier rack. It's a bit forced, but it was also a bit of a choice. Something I'd wanted to do. So it was a combination of both. I was looking at trying to reduce the weight I'm carrying on the bike. I was probably carrying a lot of extra stuff I didn't need, like an extra frying pan. For example, I had extra bags to keep things cushioned and soft in there, like my camera bags and stuff like this. So I decided to remove the front pannier because I crashed my bike into a barrier. It ripped the front pannier off, and that was pretty annoying. It's the only time I've crashed my bike, actually fell off it. Camera fell onto the road. Luckily, no traffic about. It was just more embarrassing than anything. No injuries at all on me, but the pannier is fully sheared off. So, I decided, right, stuff it. I packed all the pannier into one pannier cycled unbalanced and decided to bin the panniers because they were already pretty damaged and ripped. I could have maybe repaired them, maybe a little bit wasteful, but made a decision and I donated the rack to a bike shop. They seemed a bit confused why I was giving it away, but I'm sure they'll use it at some point. So yeah, that was my front pannier. Now I've got just 2 rear panniers and a bag on top, and the bag on top is a rucksack. I wanted the rucksack because I want the option of being able to go hiking if that opportunity does come up and arises. And yeah, I'm going to be in Alaska and Canada, which will give me the chance to go hiking in the future. So yeah, that's a bit on the bikes. I'm going to read some more of the comments now as I come on. From Rory, my old mate Rory, have you thought about a short video showing you put your videos together on the road, gear, drones, cameras? Good question, mate. I have made one video on how I edit. So I show you one of my videos from Vietnam and I go through my editing process there, which, yeah, I quite enjoyed doing that. That was quite a useful video. I think for a lot of people found that quite useful. I'm going to try and get the link up to that video there. And my gear, I did do a video on my camera gear, but that camera gear has adapted and it keeps adapting so much. I won't go into it all now, but my drone is different to the drone I used there because I lost my drone. My lenses, my tripod's changed. I've got a new, I would even say a worse tripod at the moment. Bought this for about $10 from a Japanese store because I lost mine. So things are constantly not constantly, but every 3 or 4 months, my kit does look a bit different. But yeah, I do want to do more kit videos and review videos. I think I'm in a unique place where I'm sleeping in a tent for like 150, 200 days a year, and I could review that. Not many people are in that place where they spend so much time using the kit and abusing it like I do. So yeah, I will look at doing that, mate, but thanks for that. I'll look at another couple of the comments. Cycle Our World. Are you going up to Prudhoe Bay in Alaska or going from Anchorage? Very good question. I don't know how to work it out to show a map on here. Otherwise, I'd show you my map. I'll try and learn that next time. My aim is to land in Anchorage and then going to go from there and cycle one of the Denali roads. It's like a pretty remote track that leads me from, I think, Carswell to another town I can't remember the name of, into the Canada quite high, head to Dawson City, not go to Prudhoe Bay, but go into Canada, Dawson City, and get up to Tuktoyaktuk, the most northern town in Canada, which is in the Arctic Circle, not quite as high as I think Prudhoe Bay is, just a little bit further. But from what I've read and looked into, there's a little bit more interest, a little bit less of the crazy trucks with going up to the oil fields at Prudhoe Bay. So I think it'll be more interesting culturally with the indigenous groups up in the north, up at the original Americans in Canada. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but that's what I'm looking at doing. Tuktoyaktuk down. That's the big old plan. I will be up for hitchhiking from Dawson City up to Tuktoyaktuk and starting the cycle from there. Because otherwise, winter is coming and it's going to be pretty cold up there. My brother's on here, Nathan Hugill. Be careful, Alaska's got bears. Yeah, cheers, mate. I think they've got polar bears as well up there. All right. Hello, everybody else from New Zealand and Australia. RB, hi from Australia. Hello there. I'll talk about Australia, actually, seeing as I'm on this live stream as well. In a previous video I made, I talk about getting an Australian working visa. This is something which some of you might not know, but I'll tell you it now if you don't. So I basically applied for an Australian working holiday visa. Lasts for 12 months, it's valid for. But I had to apply for it now, I felt, because I was 30, and I'm 31 very soon. And once I'm 31, I can't apply for it. I would like the option of one day working, living in Australia. This is what I thought when I applied. So I applied for it, paid the money for it, got accepted. Now I have the option in the next 12 months between now and next May of going to Australia at any point and working. Don't know if I'm going to do it, to be honest. I don't at this moment in time. I'm pretty set on Alaska to Argentina. The only thing that will stop that is me being absolutely broke and being financially broke or physically broke. I don't know. Hopefully none of me gets broke and I can still keep doing this, creating videos and still traveling. So yeah, that's my plan at the moment, is not to go to Australia, and it's to go all the way down through the Americas. I'm going to go back to some more of these comments because these are really good, really useful and interesting. Pedal pushing, Alaska, that is the best route. I think, mate, that was you that gave me that route going across the Denali Expressway. Really appreciate that recommendation. I wish I could work out how to put the map on here, but it's not to be today. So yeah, that if you've put that route in there into my previous video, you'll all see it in one of my videos to come in the future. Again, cycle our world. Nice. I'm doing Alaska to Argentina eventually. I haven't heard of that way to the Arctic Circle. I'll look into it. Yeah, Dawson City North. There's a really, really cool guy called Ben Page, who I've never met, but I've seen his videos. He cycled up to it using a river, going up this river in winter. Crazy guy. But his video is called The Frozen Road. If you Google The Frozen Road, you'll be able to see his videos. A big source of inspiration for me, actually, as a fellow Brit. I'll be going there in a much more favorable summer than that guy who did it in the winter. So hats off to him. But his film is amazing. So I definitely recommend that. Hello there, Wan Chai in Thailand. Love Thailand. Probably one of my favorite countries I've been to so far. Hello, Mark. Daniel in Dubai. Again, lovely little place, but it's a bit warm there at the moment. So Paul Smith, if I ever get to Stanhope, I'd like to take you up on some of the Pennine routes. Yeah, the UK is going to be a long time, I'm afraid, buddy. It's going to take me a while to get there. There's a lot of the world to go before I get there, but yeah, Pennines, do love them Pennines between Yorkshire and Lancashire. Will I come to Mae Hon Song again in Thailand? I'd love to. Love to. It's one of my favorite places. I think that's my favorite memories so far on this journey was Mae Hon Son in Thailand. So yeah, will I go back? I would love to one day. You never know. I'm not planning to do it in the next year or two. Alaska, America, Mexico, Central America is on. It's happening, and from there, hopefully, Colombia downwards as well. That's like something I'm just waiting for. It's something I'm planning to do, but at the moment, just planning to get up to the Arctic Circle at the moment, keeping in small steps. Pedal push in Alaska, Denali Highway is quite the ride. Do you know what I did, mate? Is I looked at it on Google Street View, which I don't often do. So I thought I'd have a look at it, and it looks epic. I was like, yes! As soon as I saw that, I didn't want to look anymore because it just felt like a spoiler. Yeah. Hello, Alan. Alan Spence from Colchester in England. You're a good old follower of my videos. I noticed that, mate. So thank you for following along. This is really cool. I get to actually connect with people that have been watching my videos for quite a while. Thank you for your brilliant videos, Adam. Well, thank you. Thank you for following. Do appreciate that. And managed to keep a wonderfully high standard. This is probably going to be the lowest standard video I've made because I'm not used to going live. This is very different for me. I'm just using a webcam on my computer, so it's probably why it's a bit grainy in this dark room. Actually, I need these glasses on to read that. Yeah, Mark Daniel, yeah, just a bit. Cycle Our World, another question from you guys. Do I bother with travel insurance or one of those spot trackers with a subscription? So I'll answer that question first. I do have travel insurance. My mother will be very happy to hear. My travel insurance is only health insurance. I didn't bother with kit and equipment. I felt that it cost too much, and I am constantly breaking stuff, but the cost of me insuring it would be too high. So I just look after my stuff really as much as I can. Hopefully nothing gets really trashed. And I have already lost a drone, and it's just something I've got to deal with. Don't carry something you're not willing to break. Most expensive things I've got is my drone and the camera and the laptop. If any of them three break, at the moment, it's pretty catastrophic. So no insurance other than health. My health is something that there's no price on that, I feel. So I did pay for that. It covers me till December, and I've got to work out from December how I'm going to get travel insurance from then on. Because usually you've got to go back to your home country to get it. It's a bit of a pain, so I'll have to do some research. Spot tracker, don't have one. Not too fussed about it personally. Yeah, just try to tell people where I'm going, keep in touch with friends and family. But yeah, I haven't gone somewhere and just gone black, as in communications. Somebody knows where I'm going, so if I'm not communicating within a certain amount of time, people will hopefully send a message to authorities. But it's not something I've really thought too much about at the moment. I haven't bothered in Europe with a spot tracker and unsure whether to do after leaving as it's a big expense. Yeah, mate, I've not tried. I'm not bothered about a spot tracker personally, but it's very personal. Some people see the risk. My risk management head is like, yeah, I don't think I need it. I think just put other health measures in place, have a plan. The risk comes for me is when I'm heading up to the Arctic Circle alone. There's going to be a big risk there, and particularly with animals, bears and wolves, mountain lions, polar bears, possibly. I don't know. Bear spray will be coming with me, and I've just got to be sensible with food, not having it in my tent, toothpaste and deodorant as well, keeping all that out of my tent. If anyone else has any tips on bears, that'd be useful because that's about to happen. This time next week, I'll be in Alaska. Okay. Thank you for the comment as well, saying you love the videos, Cycle Our World. That's really kind. I genuinely do love the positive feedback as well as any constructive feedback. It's really appreciated. Okay, a couple other people. Wanchai, you saw my video of Mei Son. That's cool, mate. Brilliant. Somebody's name, I'm sorry I can't pronounce it. It's in Thai script. I don't know how to read that, I'm afraid. But you've just finished your trip in Thailand. Lol, I got sunburnt. Not surprised. I think it's crazy hot there at the moment. It was nice to land in Korea with rain. It's nice for a day, and then you get a bit tired of the rain, and you're like, oh, wish it was cold. Wish it was warm again. Get me back to Thailand. Live is good. Really like to ask my mum some questions. I'd have to ask her if she's up for it. I'm sure she'd just be like, "Oh, I trust Adam. He's okay doing what he's doing." But yeah, it's my mum. There she is, Andrea Hugel. That's good on the health insurance. You could ask my mum questions. Feel free to ask her any. She might answer them. Paul Smith. Everybody should be a cycle tourist. You should release that as a single. Where is Lou? Yeah. Okay, I think I made all that clear previously in a previous video with Lucia. We're no longer together. It's all fairly amicable, as you could imagine. It's always hard with a breakup, but she's now moving on and progressing, going on to her stuff and life and what she wants to do, and I'm doing the same. And I think that's probably enough there. So will he ever settle down, mum? Okay, I'll let the mum comments go down there. Somebody's chatting to my mother, which is very lovely. Cheers. Cheers there. Will I ever settle down? Personally, I hope not. Is what somebody's asked my mum, and my mum said not sure, but he's having the time of his life. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to go back to some of my planned content as opposed to going into the comments, but I'll come back to the comments in a minute. I'd like to just go back to two of the people that I've recently been talking to that have been really useful for me, really helpful for me on this bike tour. First one, and some of you in the comments will already know this guy, is called Matt. His website, YouTube, is Jayo Nation. That's his YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it in here, actually. Let me get Matt's YouTube up. But he's been, for me, someone like almost of a mentor, someone to look up to that's making videos very different to myself. And he's the reason, actually, why I decided to do this live video. So cheers, mate, for that bit of inspiration. So there's Matt's YouTube there. Is that I've just posted the link there. Jayo Nation. He's a really cool guy cycling around the world on a recumbent bicycle, which is like a tricycle, so it sits down. Very different. We've gone through similar areas of Southeast Asia at the moment. We spent a good amount of time talking to each other, sharing tips and advice. And he's been really helpful for me to see somebody who's further down the line in a journey, and he's doing it in his way and I'm doing mine in my way, but hopefully learning of somebody else. So there's his link to Matt's YouTube. There's another guy I'd like to plug. I'm just going to get it up now. Let me go 1 second. So his YouTube channel is called Bike Flow, and his name's Marcus. He is a super cool guy from Sweden who is currently cycling in the United States. We've not met, but his videos are very funny. They're really, really high quality as well. And just today, we spent 3 hours, genuinely 2 hours and 50 minutes on the phone, sharing ideas. He's giving me tips about America. We're both the same age. We're both cycling effectively around the world. He's very different to me. I'm very different to him, but we've got a lot of similarities. He's super funny. I think he's like probably the funniest guy I've seen. So I'm gonna put a link to Marcus's YouTube because I think that he needs some love for sure. Bike Flow. So there's the link there. Go and check out Marcus if you can, if you're watching this at some point. I do really appreciate that. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back into the comments and see what people have been saying here whilst I've been talking there. Do you need to pick up any new gear for touring Alaska? Bear spray. Bear spray for sure. I won't be picking that up in Japan and flying with it. So Anchorage is going to become a hub for a couple of days at least. I already have two wonderful people I've yet to meet in Alaska, in Anchorage, that have agreed to host me on my first couple of days. I'm really looking forward to staying with them. You'll get to meet them soon in videos and photos on Instagram. I've already offered to pick me up from the airport, so hopefully that all works out, which is really kind because I'm landing at like 10 o'clock at night. So for them to pick me up and to host me is beyond amazing. And yeah, do I need more gear? I do need some, but I'm really wary of just spending too much money, because if I spend too much money, I won't be able to travel for as long. So essentials, bear spray for sure. There's a few things I want to do with my bike setup, but I'm just trying to work out a way to do it without spending lots of money. So I think once I've done it, I'll tell you. So at the moment, I'm not really planned it out thoroughly. I want to change my bike setup, so I've got a little bit of weight on the front, maybe a bit between the handlebars, put my tent there, bit of a bike packing setup, but I want to keep my rear panniers. I feel like they offer a lot of value to me. I might get a frame bag in the middle, but they're expensive, and I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We will see. From Alan Spence, question here: why do I think my chain snapped? It worried me because you don't carry spare links. I think it snapped because I'm a heavy old soul. I don't know, mate. It's happened to me a couple of times on this journey, 2 or 3 times, and I never carried spare links until I became long distance bike tourer Adam. But now I do carry them. You can buy quick links. That's what I'm using at the moment. And I haven't used them. A quick link has never broke. So I've just put a quick link on in Korea. It's lasted me a good few thousand kilometers through Japan. So the quick link feels pretty secure, to be honest. I got them in a bike shop in Thailand. It's pretty cheap. They're really small. They're not mucky, and they're really easy to use. I need to get my bike serviced a little bit because I think my chain might have extended. I think it's just through wear and tear and use. I was going up a steep gradient. Matt told me about it from Jayo Nation. He said that gradient is 22%, which is ridiculous, and he knows exactly which hill it was where it snapped. So I think that's why. Paul Smith, do you wish you could do a long cycle tour? Never seem to get away far enough. Yeah, mate, it's good if you can do it. This lifestyle isn't for everyone. It's tough at times, for sure. It's simple in the way that you're going forward, but for me, I've never been like genuinely happier in this lifestyle, in the way I'm living here. So yeah, if you can. So from Michael Hedberg, so you said you were from Sweden. I think I remember you saying at the beginning of the chat. It's like PewDiePie on a bike tour. I don't really know who PewDiePie is. I know he's a massive YouTuber, but to be honest, I only really watch other bike tourers. I'm sure there's some of you in the chat that are the same, maybe. But yeah, is he from Sweden? I don't know. Did you hook up on a drone? From Taylor Carlson? Yes, mate. Bought myself a drone, Mavic 2, which is a big cost, to be honest. It's a big old budget killer. My thought being, I can't go through Alaska and Canada without it. I could for sure. I didn't need it, but it does add value to the videos, and hopefully I'll be able to these videos are here forever, whereas that money I had, it's gone now. So that was my thoughts with that. Matt's here. Jayo, cheers, mate. Yeah, I just mentioned you about 5 minutes ago in the live stream. Put a good old plug for you in there, and I said to the audience that you're the reason I'm doing this live stream. So, thanks for the inspiration. From Phil John, does the chain break when climbing or in general? I've only ever happened twice to me, and it's happened when climbing on both occasions. Happened in Thailand. By that point, I'd done about 7,000 kilometers. Then it happened again in Korea, which was after 12,000 kilometers. So it seems to be every 5 or 6,000 k. My chain starts to get a bit weak. So yeah, it only happens when climbing for me personally. We're putting pressure on it, and it's usually in the lowest gear. From Matt, yep, live stream. How do you like it? I think I'm growing into it, buddy. It's difficult to know exactly how to do it, but I watched one of yours, and a few of yours actually. Got a bit of tips there. Got a bit of a plan here, but the plan's gone out the window, and I'm now just engaging with the audience, which is this is the best part about it, is you guys I can talk to. So if you're watching this live, that's brilliant. Welcome. The future guys that maybe aren't watching this live, I'll give you a bit more warning next time. I just wanted to go straight into this one because I knew I had Wi-Fi, and I won't have Wi-Fi in the future. Okay, right. Oh, so I've got some other big news that I'm going to come to in a minute, but I'm just going to read a few more of these comments, and then I'm going to come to some big news that came through, which I haven't told anybody yet. Okay. So the person whose name I couldn't read, who's got Thai script, Wisarut. That's great, mate. Thanks for that. Do I have Facebook? Yeah, if you Google Adam Hugill Cycling the World, I have a Facebook page for sure. Follow me on there. It's the same as my Instagram, so both work the same, but it's good to connect with people on there. So I'm going to go back to Matt from Jayo. He just recently cycled through Cambodia, so you'll be able to see now him cycling through Cambodia and going past where my drone crashed. He tried to find my drone, which is how we started to connect quite a lot. Didn't find it, and he's saying in the comments here, didn't find the drone. Mavic 2, it's heavier and bulkier than the Air, mate. Yeah, for sure, it's bulkier. The Mavic, so this is like a hard drive case. Mavic Air will almost fit in that. It's a bit bigger than that actually, but the Mavic 2, I don't have it with me. It's downstairs, but it's a good bit bigger. But it flies like a beast. It goes far. The connection has never dropped. I think it uses a different Wi-Fi, a different connection setting with the remote, so I feel more confident with it. And yeah, I don't think I'll crash it. Hopefully. Greg Fisher, how often have you changed chains? I've done it twice so far. So I think probably on average every 5,000, 6,000 kilometers. Yeah, but it's not a strict thing. I'm at 13,000 k at this moment in time in Japan. So yeah, probably should be doing it now. We need to check if it's the right length. The plan does not keep up with comments from Matt. Okay. So yeah, the plan does not keep up with comments for sure. Yeah, I'm going to come back to one of the plans in a minute, but the comments are far more important. The plan can come back in a bit, but engaging with you guys is brilliant. So Cycle Our World, tip for finding a drone. This is useful. Bit too late though. I'm going to read it. I bought a Bluetooth find your keys alarm and stuck it to the drone. The alarm goes off when it goes a certain distance away from you. That is genius. I never thought about that. Yeah. Oh, I should get one and put it on my current drone. What I have done on my current one, which doesn't help me find it, but I wrote my name in permanent pen and my email address, if found, return to. Hopefully, if it does get lost, someone will return it. I've thought about using the pool. So from Mark Daniel, have you thought about using the pool noodle to keep cars at bay in the US? The US is not exactly friendly to cyclists, and some have success with using a pool noodle. Yeah, I've seen that on the internet. Some of you might not know what that means. A pool noodle. We don't call it that in England. I think we just call it a flotation device. But it's a massive like stick thing like this, but long and floppy. So I've seen people attach that to the back of them and stick it out into the road. So when cars pass you, they'll give you space and not hit that. I've heard some people get pulled over by the police and getting told to take it off, which I think is a bit rubbish. Yeah, you should be able to be as wide as reasonable with wanting your space. It's a good idea. I think if I'm going to cycle on busy big roads, that's an idea I'll look into. But I'm going to aim to avoid the busy big roads. That's why I'm going to the US, is to be able to do that. So hopefully that won't be a problem. Fingers crossed. So Greg Fisher, pity you decided to bypass going to Australia. You would have light cycling here, dodging cars, lol. Yeah, I will. Maybe. I don't think I will go to Australia, if I'm being honest with myself at this moment in time, but it won't be a world tour without going to Australia. So it will be on, I think I'll just be going as a tourist rather than working there. I think that's what I'll be doing at some point in the future. So Paul Smith, if you're not careful, you will wear out your entire drivetrain. Replacing the train is less cost effective. You're right, mate. You're absolutely right. It's just, do you know what it is? It's sometimes you don't notice it being lazy. It's being meticulous with your repairs. It's something that I'm not the best at, to be honest, but we can only hope to be better. Okay, let me have a look at this. I'm going to go back to the news I was going to tell you about, and I'm going to come back to the comments in 1 minute, because there's a good few comments building up here, but I want to tell you this news. So yesterday night, I got an email through from the Canadian government, and they approved me to apply for a Canadian working visa. Now, that doesn't mean I've got one. Doesn't mean it means I can apply for a working an international experience visa. I think it's 12 or 24 months long. Allows me to stay in Canada for a year at least. Again, you have to apply for that before you're 31. I was 30. Thought I'd apply for the pool. It's a lottery. Got accepted 2 days ago. It's made me think, oh, do I want to stop and work? And my heart is telling me no. I don't want to stop and work today. Not because I don't want to work. It's because I have this mission that I want to cycle through the Americas. I feel I've got enough money saved to do it. I'll be really clear with you guys on what money I have. Like, I'm living on £300 a month, just under. So I think that's the amount I'm living on for 18 months. So if you work that out, it's about £5,000 left in the bank. I think that's useful for people to understand where I sit. There's people doing it on less and there's people doing it on more. Yeah, I'm in a hostel, so if anyone comes in behind me, it's absolutely their space as well. So yeah, that's where I sit financially. I think I can do it. I think if I just kind of double down on this trip and really commit to it, hopefully all things will work out. And I've just got to live on a lot of peanut butter and instant noodles for the next few months, and not staying in any hotels for the whole time. So that was the big news. I don't think I'm going to apply for that visa. I've got 10 days before my deadline. Oh no, 20 days, sorry, before my deadline of being able to apply is up. So I've got to decide. So I'm going to leave it for a bit, let it sit. But I have the opportunity to live and work in Canada or stay there for 12 months. We will see. I don't think I'm going to stay there, though. I think I'm set on America downwards. So that's the big news. I'm going to go back to the comments now and answer some of these. I'm going to put my glasses back on to read these comments. Cycle Our World, good idea. Bluetooth finder. Yeah, that's from Matt from Jayo. So Mike Hedberg, just did my first live stream a week ago. I was also nervous before. I bet you can, so you'll know exactly how I felt before I pressed that go live button. Yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but here I am. It's really fun and rewarding. You're doing great. Cheers, Michael. That's really appreciated. Yeah, cheers, mate. Okay, Alan Spence. Don't want to make your head swell. I probably shouldn't read this then. But actually, one of the best live streams I've linked into. And your first time. Well done. You're an actual chatterbox. Cheers, mate. Oh. Oh, I don't know what to say to that. That's really kind. If you put your address and your name on the drone, this is from Matt at Jayo. So if you put your address and name on the drone, when it crashes someplace, you should not be flying it. It makes it easier for the police to track you down and lock you up. It makes me nervous. You're right there. So that's why I just put a email address, which I don't use a lot. So I thought, won't identify me, Hopefully, it'll just, if someone's been kind, they can email that email and I'll get it. That was my logic. I did think that. I'm not going to say Adam Hugill, random address. So, yeah, that's a good point. And hello, Adu from Spain. Okay, so there's my big news I've gone through, and that's everything I've got planned in this live stream. I think I'm going to call it a day there. It's the time here in Japan is, let's have a look. The time is 6 p.m. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a few videos I need to edit. I want to get at least one more video done before I fly, but I don't think that's going to happen because of the amount of time it takes for me to make a video. Normally takes me between 6 and 8 hours to make one video, with all the music selection, creating maps, voiceover, writing the voiceover, trying to find the stories from the footage. So that's why I think it takes. I don't know if I'll get the next career video out in time, and that is why I wanted to make this live stream. So I wanted to connect with my audience, you guys, and this is by far the best way I've done it so far. So this will not be my last live stream. I'm going to try to do this more frequently. I'm not going to set hard and fast. This is how often I'm going to do it, but I'll try to give you a bit of warning next time rather than just going boom. I mean, your live inbox. So yeah, that's going to be future plans. I won't be able to do it weekly at all because when I get into Alaska going north, I think I'm going to maybe take 2 or 3 weeks without internet and just be like quite remote. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm ready for the challenge, ready to get up into the mountains and face that long old road up to the Arctic Circle. Punch out an episode or 2 on the plane. Brilliant idea. Hopefully my laptop will stay charged for that amount of time because as soon as I start video editing, it drains that battery. I reckon I could get a good chunk of one. You'll get voiceover with me like with the airport as I'm flying. Yeah. A comment here from Cycle Our World. I'll go back into the comments before I do sign off. I'm going to probably actually, if I can go to 1 hour, I'll go for an hour. If it does start to die down, I'll leave it there. Cycle Our World, thanks for the YouTube channel tips. Lots to watch in my tent. Off to Belgium now. Good luck. Enjoy Belgique. I loved it in Belgium. I cycled in Belgium in 2014. It's across the country. Ardennes, Pate, absolute gold dust, that stuff. So yeah, which route through the US roughly from Alan Spence? Okay, so this is a great question that I don't know the answer to, if I'm being honest. So I'll tell you today's version of my route, and I don't promise this won't change. So there's a famous Great Divide mountain bike route, goes down through Jasper Banff National Parks in Canada. And then from there, it goes, just put it up a little bit, from Jasper Banff goes down through the Rocky Mountains and heads south. So, I mean, that's a bit better. These little Japanese tables. Yeah, so heads south, Jasper Banff, down into the Rocky Mountains, kind of heads towards Colorado. There's things I want to see that isn't on the Great Divide. So I will be coming off it. I won't be adherently sticking to it. And I'm open to ideas. I know that the Pacific Coast Highway, Oregon, Washington area is meant to be beautiful. So I'm torn between doing that, but I think I'll only have 90 days ESTA, which is the visa agreement, to get to do it really. So I can't be in the US forever. That's what I'm hoping I'll get at the border, having been in Alaska, and then they're going to give me another ESTA, hopefully. Canada, they give me more time, which is why I'm going to choose to go north up to Tuktoyaktuk in Canada. Gives me a little bit more flexibility. Usually the border staff should give me a bit more time. It's not guaranteed, any of this. So yeah, Great Divide mountain bike route with, I think, some of the canyons. I think the Idaho mountains canyons. I think I'm right with that. And I am interested in getting across. I've got a good friend who lives in San Francisco, so maybe there. And I will go to San Diego because that's where I'm looking to do my last city stop before going into Mexico. From Mexico, I'm pretty set on cycling the Baja Divide. It's a really remote little stretch. I say little, it's 2,000 kilometers long stretch of very tough cycling, very cactus, thorns, hard ground. I've got a couple of people, Marcus being one of them in Bike Flow, which I wrote in the comments earlier. His channel is down there. He might be joining me if all things work out. Chris Panaski, who's a guy who's got a really good podcast called Bike Tour Adventures, which Matt Jayo was on as well. He might be joining me down in Mexico, so it could be the three of us going down there. If I do that, we might have an idea of making a proper film about the Baja Divide and cycling that. That's the bubbling idea at the moment, is making a Baja Divide film. So that's an option. We'll see that. I'm going to go back into the comments there. So yeah, from Matt, what's my overall opinion of Japan and in the grand scheme of touring? So overall opinion of Japan, for me, it's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed the. I say this quite a lot, but it's the people that always make a place. So many random acts of people just being kind, not speaking the language. The culture here is very respectful. People are always really kind. One of the nicest things I saw was a day or so ago, 2 days ago. I was just cycling along, and there was a pedestrian crossing, and a young lad, must have been about 12, crossed the road, and a car had stopped at the crossing. He got to the road, and as he got to the other side, he just stopped and bowed at the car. I'm like, amazing, absolutely brilliant. That's the culture there. So you can imagine it's a really easy place to cycle because everyone makes you feel very welcome. Countless times I've been given tea and sweets from people on the street. It can be hard to communicate, especially because I don't speak their language, and often they're quite shy to speak English to me directly in the areas outside the cities. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's expensive, which is very true. So I've camped a lot, but the camping is good. So it's not like a pain. I'm here in June now, and it's been quite rainy, quite this rainy time here in the south of Japan, as in not in Hokkaido. So it's not been the best weather, which makes it tough, but I've got to get used to that if I'm looking to go Alaska, Canada. So yeah, grand scheme of touring, it's a big thumbs up for Japan. I will return at one point, and I definitely will do Hokkaido one day in the future. Okay, so a couple more comments before I look to draw this to an end. From Paul Smith, wish you well on future trips. Don't drink and ride and don't fall off. Yeah, mate. Good tips, that. I do appreciate that. So being less. You're right, mate. So being less 61 has just bought his first touring bike and started preparing. I'm going to start my own adventure. Great videos, Adam. Cheers, mate. Really appreciate that. That's really kind. Thank you. Good luck for your tours. Tell me where you're going. Where are you heading to on your tour? Where are you preparing for? Where do you live in the world? Tahir, keep it up, pal. Been following you since you started. Oh, cheers, mate. That's really cool. It's really nice to actually have people that have seen the journey. I think the original plan was always to cycle Singapore to England, and it wouldn't be an adventure if it all went to plan. So for me, doing what I'm about to do now and the way everything's worked out, I want to see it as things can seem bad at the time when things go wrong or things don't work out as you plan, but I see it as a massive adventure because things are working out the way they are now. And I'll look back at some events that have happened recently that have changed this trip. So yeah, you'll know about all of this if you've been watching me. Okay, I'm going to call this to a close there. Thank you all for watching and listening to this. My takeaways here is my podcast. Let me see if I can find my link to my podcast and put that in before I call this a day. Okay, my podcast, because iTunes sent me a email link. Here we go. A link to my podcast. Cool. I'm just going to have to go back into the control room, and I'm going to send you the link. There is the podcast link. So I've just sent that there. Hopefully that link works. If anybody wants to listen to me blabble on like this, but a lot shorter, 10 to 15 minutes most days, I'm going to try and do it daily, but I won't be able to upload daily unless I have internet connection. So sometimes I'll upload 4 or 5 episodes, but I want to have, in a year's time, hopefully my aim is to have 365 individual clips probably won't be the case because I will miss days, but I want to have a year's worth of podcast diary descriptions, and you can really feel what it's like to be on a bike trip, but the uncensored version. I think when I'm using this camera, you get a censored, artistic version of the trip. You get drone footage, you get me editing a lot out, and I don't think you see the reality of it. So that's kind of the aim there, is to show you the reality. Okay, so there's the podcast. I want you also, if you can, and you'd like to check any more questions and answers, I've got a Patreon, which I'm going to plug for 1 minute. My Patreon page has, I've just released a question and answer session. So I'm going to get that link up to that page now, which is patreon.com/Adam Hugill. On there, if you become a patron, you get to access content early, which is one of the benefits to it. But also, I'm starting to make exclusive patron-only content. One of which is the question and answer session I've just done with my patrons. Full video on there, which is 18 minutes long, asking any questions that anyone has. I'll create a proper video and do it in depth. So if you'd like to do that, go over there. That's something you can do. And you can also support this channel by helping me continue the journey and become part of the sports team. If you can't, I will always be making my proper videos for free and putting them on here. So just following and subscribing is amazing. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody that's followed me live. If anyone's watching this in retrospect, please be a bit easy on me because it's my first live stream. So, and you can see I've done it in a bit of a busy environment, and it's not, it's never going to be perfect. This is the reality of a bike tour. So, yeah, thank you for all watching. I'm going to call it a day there. Farewell, and I'm going to end the stream there. If you did like this, subscribe, please. Cheers.